Lately I've been feeling so overwhelmed by just like the pressure to be on all the time,
Right.
emails, social media, like keeping up with everything, feeling like I'm failing to meet all these impossible standards.
Right.
So I started reading this book. It's
Okay.
called A Guide to the Good Life by William B. Irvine.
Mm,
And it's about Stoicism, that ancient philosophy.
right.
It claims to offer some solutions for all this modern day anxiety we're feeling.
Interesting.
So what do you think? Like, is it really possible
Yeah.
to find peace in this crazy world using wisdom from like centuries ago?
Well, what's fascinating about Stoicism is that people often see it as like this rigid, emotionless philosophy,
Yeah.
but it's really about finding sustainable inner peace
Okay.
amidst chaos.
Mm-hmm.
And it deals directly with that feeling of being overwhelmed
Yeah.
by saying, okay, let's focus on what we can control
Right.
and accept what we can't.
That's interesting. I have to admit, when I first heard about Stoicism, I pictured like grumpy old men in togas telling everyone to just suck it up.
Right.
But focusing on what we can control,
Yeah.
that's kind of rebellious, don't you think?
It is. It really is. It pushes back against all that pressure to strive for more, to worry about things we can't control.
Right.
Stoicism empowers us to reclaim our mental energy
Okay.
and direct it towards what matters.
Okay, so let's unpack that.
Yeah.
What is Stoicism exactly?
Yeah.
And how is it different from just being, a pessimist?
Okay, so that's a key distinction.
Right.
Stoicism is not about denying that difficult situations exist.
Okay.
It's not about becoming an unfeeling robot.
Got it.
It acknowledges life's challenges,
Mm-hmm.
but it emphasizes that we have the power to choose how we respond to them.
So it's more about taking a proactive approach to our emotions
Exactly.
instead of letting them control us.
Right.
Okay.
And to illustrate this, Irvine introduces us to what he calls the Stoic All-Stars.
Oh,
These figures from history who really embodied Stoic principles in their lives.
love a good historical cameo.
Yeah, so we have Seneca,
Okay.
the Roman philosopher, playwright,
Uh-huh.
and for a time, even a wealthy banker.
Wow.
He experienced the highs and lows,
Right?
faced exile, financial ruin,
Hmm?
even execution under Emperor Nero.
Oh,
But throughout it all,
yeah.
he used Stoic principles to find peace and meaning,
Hmm.
even when facing extreme adversity.
That's incredible. He really put his philosophy to the test.
He did.
But, all these guys you're mentioning sound pretty impressive. Were there any Stoics who, well, weren't so successful
Yeah.
at living up to these ideals and all feels a bit intimidating, like we have to be perfect Stoics all the time?
Right. Well, it's important to remember that Stoicism, like any philosophy, is a journey, not a destination.
Okay.
The Stoics weren't aiming for perfection.
Mm.
They were striving for progress, for
Yeah.
continuous self-improvement. And yes, there were certainly Stoics who struggled to live up to their own ideals.
I see.
Even Seneca, for example.
Okay.
He was known for his moments of frustration and anger.
So it's more about acknowledging that we're human, we're going to make mistakes,
Exactly.
but we can always choose to learn and grow from those experiences.
Yeah, and that's what makes Stoicism so relatable, even thousands of years later.
Right.
It's not about achieving some unattainable state of perfection.
Okay.
It's about recognizing our own humanity
Mm-hmm.
and striving to be our best selves,
Yeah.
even amidst our flaws and imperfections.
I'm starting to see how these Stoic ideas could be pretty relevant to everyone.
Yes.
Not just, ancient philosophers.
Right.
But you mentioned another all-star.
Yes, the Emperor Marcus Aurelius.
Okay.
Imagine
Yeah.
ruling an empire
Right.
while simultaneously trying to rule your own emotions.
Wow.
That's exactly what Marcus Aurelius did.
Hmm.
He used Stoic philosophy as his compass.
Okay.
His personal journals, which are known as the Meditations,
Yeah.
are still studied today
That's amazing.
for their insights into leading a virtuous and fulfilling life,
Wow.
even in the face of enormous pressure.
An emperor who keeps a diary about his Stoic practice.
Right.
It really shows that these ideas can be applied to any life,
Exactly.
no matter how seemingly powerful or ordinary.
Exactly.
But did his position of power affect his practice of Stoicism in any way?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Some scholars argue that his position of authority actually gave him unique insights into the nature of power,
Okay.
control, and the limits of human influence.
I see.
He was constantly faced with decisions that impacted the lives of millions,
Right.
and his Stoic practice helped him navigate those responsibilities with a sense of clarity and purpose.
So even an emperor found solace in Stoicism. All of this sounds fascinating in theory,
Mm.
but why do these ancient ideas matter now
Right.
in the 21st century?
That's where Irvine brings in some really interesting perspectives from evolutionary psychology. He argues that our brains are wired for survival, not necessarily happiness.
Interesting.
We're primed to react to threats,
Right.
to worry,
Mm-hmm.
to crave things that might have helped our ancestors survive
Yeah.
in a very different world.
Right. Right.
But in today's world, those same instincts can lead to anxiety,
Mm-hmm.
stress,
Yeah.
and a constant feeling of dissatisfaction.
So we're essentially walking around with Stone Age brains in a digital age.
Kind of, yeah.
Wow.
And Stoicism provides us with a set of tools to work with those hardwired tendencies,
Okay.
to override those default settings that no longer serve us.
Okay.
It's about recognizing that we have the power to choose our responses,
Right.
even when our instincts are telling us otherwise.
This is where it gets really interesting for me.
Okay.
What are some of those Stoic tools that we can actually use in our own lives,
Right.
to combat those primal urges?
Well, welcome back to our deep dive into Stoicism.
Yes.
It's incredible how these ancient ideas still resonate with our modern lives.
I know, right?
So in part one,
Yeah.
we talked about how Stoicism can help us with big challenges, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like feeling overwhelmed,
Mm-hmm.
dealing with humiliation.
Right.
But what about those everyday frustrations?
Mm.
The little things
Yeah.
that can drain our happiness.
Totally.
Can Stoicism help with those too?
I'm curious about that.
That's where some of the more subtle Stoic techniques come in,
Okay.
like negative visualization.
Hey, didn't we already talk about that?
We did touch upon it,
Okay.
but it has another application
Okay.
that I think you'll find really helpful.
All right.
It's not just about preparing for setbacks.
Right.
It's also about appreciating what we already have.
Okay.
By focusing on what we could lose,
Mm-hmm.
we can actually cultivate gratitude.
I'm not sure I understand.
Okay, so let's say you're really wanting something new,
Mm-hmm.
like the latest smartphone
Okay.
or a fancy car.
Right.
Instead of just giving into that desire,
Yeah.
pause for a moment and visualize what it would be like to not have your current phone
Oh.
or car.
I see.
Imagine it breaking down or
Right.
getting lost.
I get it. My old phone suddenly doesn't seem so bad.
Exactly.
Yeah.
By mentally experiencing the absence of something,
Right.
we can reawaken our appreciation for its presence.
That makes sense.
And that's key for happiness.
It's not about denying ourselves nice things.
Right.
It's more about truly valuing what we have
Exactly.
before getting caught up in wanting more. It's interrupting that grass is always greener mentality.
Exactly.
Let's talk about social media.
Okay.
I think we can all relate to feeling stressed
Yeah.
or inadequate
Right.
while scrolling through those perfect feeds. It's so easy to compare ourselves.
It is. The Stoics didn't have Instagram or TikTok,
True.
but their advice about navigating the social world
Mm-hmm.
can still be applied to our digital lives.
Okay, how so?
Well, remember their advice about being selective about who you spend time with.
Yeah.
They believed negativity is contagious,
Right.
and we should surround ourselves with people who uplift us.
But how do we translate that to the online world?
Right.
It's not like we can unfriend everyone who posts annoying selfies.
Well, maybe you can think of social media as a digital gathering place.
Okay.
We have the power to choose who we let into that space.
I like that.
Ask yourself,
Yeah.
who am I following?
Mhm.
What content am I consuming?
Right.
Does it contribute to my well-being,
Okay.
or does it leave me feeling drained and negative?
So it's about being intentional about our online relationships,
Exactly.
just like we are with our real life ones.
Right.
It's like a digital declutter.
I like that, yeah.
Unsubscribing from accounts that make you feel bad.
Yeah.
Seeking out those that inspire you.
Right.
Bring you joy.
And it's not just about who you follow.
Okay.
It's about how you engage.
Mm-hmm.
The Stoics emphasized maintaining inner calm,
Right.
even when surrounded by external chaos.
Yeah. I get that, but social media is designed to trigger our emotions,
It is.
to get us to react, to compare, to engage in pointless debates.
Right.
It's hard to stay calm when you're bombarded with negativity.
It is challenging, but the Stoics would encourage us to approach social media with awareness
Okay.
and intention
I see.
before you post comment,
Yeah.
even scroll.
Right.
Take a moment to check in with yourself.
Okay.
Are you reacting impulsively?
Mm-hmm.
Are you seeking validation
Right.
or comparing yourself to others?
it's so easy to lose sight of your values and intentions
It is.
with all the likes and comments.
Yeah.
So pausing to consider your emotional state
Right.
before engaging could be really helpful.
It is.
It's like bringing that stoic mental armor
Yes.
into our digital lives.
That's a great way to put it.
Right.
We can choose to let social media control us,
Mm-hmm.
or we can choose to use it in a way that aligns with our values
I like that.
and contributes to our well-being.
This is all making a lot of sense.
Good.
But the whole always be in control of your emotions thing
Yeah,
makes stoicism feel a bit unattainable.
I understand.
Like, I'm all for inner peace,
Right.
but are we allowed to, like, feel our feelings?
Of course.
Or are we supposed to repress everything?
That's a really common misconception about Stoicism.
Yeah.
It's not about suppressing our emotions. It's about choosing how we respond to them.
Right.
The Stoics understood that emotions are natural.
Yeah.
We're going to feel joy, sadness, anger, frustration.
Mm-hmm.
It's part of being alive.
Right.
But what Stoicism offers
Yeah.
is a framework for navigating those emotions
Okay.
in a way that empowers us
Mm-hmm.
rather than letting them control us.
So it's about having a healthy relationship with our emotions,
Exactly.
not trying to eradicate them altogether.
It's about balance
Right.
between acceptance and action.
Okay.
We acknowledge our feelings,
Yeah.
but we don't let them dictate our choices or behaviors.
That makes me feel a lot better. So we've talked about negative visualization,
Mm-hmm.
social media,
Yeah.
acknowledging our emotions. What are some other Stoic strategies,
Okay.
for navigating those daily annoyances?
Well, one that I find helpful
Yeah.
is remembering the trichotomy of control.
Okay, the trichotomy of control.
We divide things into three categories.
Right.
What we can control,
Mm-hmm.
what we can influence,
Okay.
and what's completely beyond our grasp.
And the goal is to focus our energy on the first two.
Right.
But how do we actually do that
Right.
when we're stuck in traffic
Yeah.
or dealing with a frustrating coworker?
It takes practice,
Okay.
but it can be incredibly empowering.
All right.
So the next time you find yourself getting worked up,
Mm-hmm.
pause
Okay.
and ask yourself,
Yeah.
can I control this situation directly?
Right.
Probably not.
Probably not.
Can I influence it?
Okay.
Maybe, maybe not.
Right.
But what I can control
Yeah.
is my own reaction. I can choose to respond with anger and frustration,
Right.
or I can choose to accept what I can't change
Okay.
and focus my energy on what I can.
It's about shifting our perspective.
Exactly.
Instead of trying to force the world to conform to our expectations,
Right.
we ask ourselves, is there anything I can actually do about this right now?
Yeah.
And if the answer is no,
Right.
we let it go.
Exactly.
Our power lies in our choices,
Yes.
not in our circumstances.
Practicing Stoicism is like a mental workout.
Oh, I like that.
It strengthens our ability to choose our response to the world around us.
Yeah.
It's about building mental resilience
Okay.
to navigate the ups and downs of life
Right.
with grace and tranquility.
And like any workout,
Yeah.
it takes practice.
The Stoics didn't believe in overnight transformations.
Right.
They saw it as a lifelong journey
Mm-hmm.
of self-improvement.
Yeah.
We're going to stumble.
Right.
We're going to get frustrated.
Of course.
We're going to react in ways we later regret.
Yeah, that's human.
But that's okay.
Yeah.
The key is to keep practicing,
Mm-hmm.
keep learning,
Right.
keep striving to be our best selves.
So it's not about being perfect.
Right.
It's about making progress.
Exactly.
We're all works in progress.
And even small steps
Yeah.
can have a big impact.
I agree.
The Stoics weren't just philosophers.
Okay.
They were very practical people.
Right.
They gave us tools and techniques that we can use to live better lives.
Day by day.
They understood that philosophy
Yeah.
wasn't just about abstract ideas.
Right.
It was about living a good life,
Mm-hmm.
a life filled with purpose, meaning, and joy.
I really like that. This has been so insightful.
Good.
I feel like I have a whole new set of mental tools to work with.
Great.
Before we get too carried away,
Yeah.
let's recap some of the key takeaways from this part.
Okay. Sounds good.
What are your thoughts?
For me, it's the power of negative visualization,
Yes.
not just for setbacks,
Right.
but for cultivating gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a simple technique,
It is.
but it can have a profound impact.
I agree. And I'm really struck by how we can apply Stoicism to social media.
Me too.
It's a reminder that we have more control
Yeah.
over our digital lives.
And we realize.
Being more intentional
Right.
about who we follow,
Mm-hmm.
how we engage,
Yeah,
can make a huge difference.
absolutely.
It's about taking back our power,
Yes.
curating our online
We're
experiences.
going to match our values
Yeah,
and
yeah.
priorities.
This has been such a rich discussion,
It has.
but we're not done yet.
No, we're not.
In part 3,
Yeah.
we'll delve into some even deeper insights from A Guide to the Good Life,
Okay.
including the Stoic perspective on death
Right.
and the importance of finding meaning in life.
Sounds good.
So stay tuned. We'll see
Yeah.
you soon.
Okay. For the final part of our exploration of Stoicism. Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive into Stoicism.
Yeah.
We've covered so much.
We have from negative visualization to, social media.
Mm-hmm.
But there's one big topic left.
Okay.
The Stoic perspective on death.
Right.
This is where things get really interesting.
It is.
And maybe a bit challenging.
Yeah, for sure.
Death is something most of us try not to think about too much.
I think that's fair.
But the Stoics had a different approach.
They did.
So how did they view it?
Well, they believed that contemplating death,
Okay.
not in a morbid way,
Right.
but in a philosophical sense,
Okay.
could actually help us live better lives.
That seems counterintuitive.
It does.
How can thinking about death make us feel more alive?
Remember the Stoic focus on what we can control.
Mm-hmm.
Death is the ultimate example of something we can't control.
Right.
It's inevitable for all of us.
True.
It doesn't matter how much we achieve,
Right.
how wealthy we are,
Okay.
or what our status is.
So by accepting the inevitability of death,
Yeah,
we free ourselves from fear.
exactly. And that allows us to focus on living fully
Mm-hmm.
in the present moment.
Okay.
The Stoics believed each day is a gift,
Right.
and we should treat it as such.
I see.
So instead of fearing the end,
Yeah.
we should embrace the journey.
Okay. So it's about shifting our focus
Mm-hmm.
from the fear of death
Right.
to the appreciation of life.
Exactly.
I'm starting to see how this could be empowering.
Yeah.
Instead of dwelling on our limited time,
Right.
we can choose to make the most of it.
That's the idea.
And this connects to another Stoic concept, right?
It does.
The pursuit of virtue.
Yes.
I have to admit, when I hear the word virtue,
Mm-hmm.
I think of those old-fashioned morality tales.
Right.
Where everyone is either perfectly good or totally bad.
Yeah, I get that.
Is that what the Stoics meant?
Not quite.
Okay.
For them, virtue wasn't about following a rigid set of rules.
Okay.
It was about living in accordance with nature,
Interesting.
using reason to guide our actions,
Mm.
and striving to be our best selves.
So it's more about aligning our actions with our values
Exactly.
and living a life of purpose.
Yes, and the Stoics believed that this pursuit of virtue
Okay.
was the key to a meaningful life,
Regardless of our circumstances.
regardless of our external circumstances. Exactly.
That's powerful.
It is.
It means true happiness isn't about wealth
Right.
or fame
Yeah.
or even good health.
It comes from within,
It comes from within.
from living a life that is true to ourselves.
That's the essence of Stoicism.
It is.
Inner peace and fulfillment are attainable by anyone.
Yes.
It doesn't matter what your social standing is or your life circumstances.
It's a journey
A lifelong journey.
of self-discovery and growth.
This whole conversation has really got me thinking.
Good.
It's so easy to get caught up in the anxieties of life
Is.
that we forget to ask ourselves the big questions.
Big questions are important.
What is a good life?
Yeah.
What does it mean to live a life of purpose?
Those are essential questions.
And Stoicism gives us a framework for exploring them.
It does.
This deep dive has been incredible for me.
I'm glad to hear that.
I feel like I have a whole new perspective
That's great.
and a set of tools to navigate life
Mm-hmm.
with more resilience and joy.
I love that.
So, folks, that concludes our deep dive into Stoicism.
It does.
We hope you've enjoyed exploring this ancient wisdom with us
Me too.
and that you'll take some of these valuable insights
Yeah.
as you continue navigating the complexities of modern life.
Remember, the Stoics believed that true happiness comes from within, from living a virtuous life,
Right?
and focusing on what we can control
Yeah.
in a world that often feels chaotic
It does.
and unpredictable.
Yeah,
Those are powerful ideas.
they are. Until next time,
Yes.
may you find peace and strength
Absolutely.
in the Stoic spirit.